the buzz, so much noise is being made about traffic tremors, construction clamor, and utility work racket in the 6. City Hall is looking to overhaul what sound should be against Toronto bylaws. This as it's facing a new challenge. The responsibility to investigate noise complaints will no longer be shared between Toronto Police and the city. Soon it will just be the responsibility of city bylaw officers, and there's no additional funding for more staffing in the 2018 budget. As it stands now, any noise complaints about a licensed establishment should be investigated within 48 hours. Meanwhile, construction complaints, get this, within 5 business days. So what's the point, and will that change? Here's what the city had to say. How is that an effective way to manage noise in the city if crews aren't coming out or investigators aren't coming out for still some 5 business days later?
Right. So those are our stated service levels. Our response times are better than that, but that's part and parcel of what we're looking at and assessing how we do respond to noise complaints, prioritizing it, making the most effective use of our resources, as well as addressing the issues of the impacted residents.
Do you think the current response times are effective in terms of maintaining acceptable noise limits in the city?
I think we could do better. That's why we're doing the review.
The city gets about 12,000 noise complaints every year. Now, joining me now, representing the Toronto Noise Coalition, is Ian Carmichael, and you're representing the residents as the bylaws get a revamp or an overhaul. What would you like to see changed?
What we would like to see is a comprehensive review of best practices across jurisdictions. We know, for example, that cities that are trying to balance residents and businesses can do so. New York is a great example. So we believe that there should be A, clearer regulations, and B, funding for enforcement.
So responding to noise complaints within 48 hours for a licensed establishment or 5 business days for something like construction noise, do you think that's effective?
It's even worse than that standard because they only meet the standard 50% of the time. So it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's de facto no noise regulation in the City of Toronto currently.
As the responsibility gets downgraded or shifted over to the city from Toronto Police, how do you think the city should manage all these complaints, and how do you think they're going to keep up with it?
What we think should happen really is we think that people who create noise should have to mitigate that noise. What that'll mean is that there'll be less enforcement required, but there will in fact have to be additional funding for more enforcement in the City of Toronto.
Thank you so much for that, Ian. Now, Toronto Public Health also did a survey of just how noisy it is in the city to find out just how noisy it is and how often they go over provincial limits and what that effect is on your health. You can go to our website, citynews.ca. Amanda Ferguson, City News.